ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?
I had to ask myself those questions. And this is my response to you.
Those who criticize our generation forget who raised it, and also forget, or just don't have a clue, what position they have left us in. So it is our turn now to fix what has been done, and we must stand up, and we must stand up quickly for our next generation, for our grandchildren, before it's too late. So I just want to ask you one question, and that question is, what does freedom mean to you?
Wow. Last night, I am sitting there watching the debate. Just for some reason, I decided to watch it. I usually read a transcript of the debates because it's such theater. It's so ridiculous. It's so canned that I just read a transcript and then highlights, we play on the show. But I watched the whole thing. And Obama looked totally arrogant and angry that he was being asked questions. My children all thought he was creepy, but they also thought Mitt Romney was creepy. And my wife said he's like a charming vampire. And that's what I've always said. Mitt Romney reminds me of Count Dracula. So in every way, I mean, it's like he could star as a head vampire in any movie. I mean, ask any casting director. Mitt Romney is, he is central casting Count Dracula. Now, that joke aside, within minutes, I tweeted, and you can go to Real Alex Jones, within 5 minutes of the debate starting at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, I was saying Obama is flat, Obama is out of gas, Obama is arrogant, and people are like, man, Alex, you never tweeted this much. I was tweeting every minute. I said, we're watching the absolute collapse of Obama if he doesn't come alive here, because the American people on average don't really know about policies. They just go off of how your hair looks and how you act and are you confident. And he couldn't stand Mitt Romney staring at him the whole time because everybody walks around groveling to the president all day. The senator of 4 years ago was confident, but not ultra super totally narcissistic and arrogant. Now everybody saw Obama. Can you imagine if Mitt Romney gets in, how arrogant he'll be in 4 years? So, again, if you go down deeper into my tweets at Real Alex Jones down there from last night, you'll see about 10 I sent out. And the first ones I sent out, I broke down. It says, watching the debate now, both men work for the same globalist. That was right as it started. And then a minute later, Obama is in trouble. He looks totally impotent. This is going to be big. Next one. Obama knows that when you raise taxes, it drops revenue. That's the plan. Romney needs to bring up, you didn't build that, if he wants to win, which he basically did. Wow, Romney just told the truth. He said raising taxes lowers revenue. I couldn't believe that. He was actually defending small businesses, too. Both men are puppets. This whole show is to make us think we have a choice. Last tweet tonight, this debate was a game changer for Romney. Too bad it's fake. I sent that out before it was even over. I sent that out the last few minutes of it. And then, I have even mainstream media and even all the liberals are in routed panic right now. Obama burned to the ground last night. He burned to the ground last night. But hey, it doesn't matter because Mitt Romney is run by the same people, and it gets worse. I agree with Sarah Palin. She said, watch them. They're gonna stage something. And you better bet your boots that's in the cards. We'll be right back with the real news, the big news. Obviously, the debate is huge news. I've got several articles here where London and Vegas bookies who had been 2-1 against Romney have now basically moved about halfway towards Romney. And the money says that if Obama loses the next debate, they're going to be neck and neck. And then if he loses the next one, Romney is going to surge ahead. again, the thing is theater. It's two pillars of the New World Order. It's two heads on the same ogre. They've got different ties, but they're still there on the same body. They work for the very same interest. But the globalists have to give us some choice. And there are big political machines of the Democratic and Republican parties who hate each other at many levels, who are battling for the levers of control. Whereas the Republican Party operates kind of as the corporate fascist well, we're against big government. That's why we promote giant government and corporate welfare. And then it expands out from there with the Democrats, who are also corporate fascists but pose as socialist communists, who are just racing ahead with authoritarian activity. And then the Republicans kind of act as a placeholder for them whenever the Democrats are out of power. Well, the Republicans get back in and then just cement all the gains. And every new administration wants all the new powers that the last criminal administration seized on. And so no one ever gives up any of the power. And so the government just gets bigger and bigger and more arrogant and more out of control. Now, I'm going to get to the debate, and I'm going to play clips here on air of Romney, of Obama, some of the moments that I thought were the biggest zingers. Romney was animated, electric, alive, out of the gates, like a champ. He was like Cassius Clay coming out in his debut heavyweight fight and beating the champ. Again, they're puppets. It's a giant show, the greatest show on earth. It's a distraction. It's a diversion. But regardless, it is a game changer now, because it will mean differences in approach if Mitt Romney actually swings the country behind him and the system allows him to win. They may pull out the stops with election fraud. They may engage in an October surprise. Even Sarah Palin said that. We have a video clip of that. Governor Palin said, hey, they're gonna pull some trick. They're gonna pull some event. ABC News said Monday there may be an October surprise militarily. Well, I think that October surprise has already started, and that's really our big news today. I'm going to be getting to here in a moment. But here are just some of the headlines. So I began tweeting within 3 minutes of seeing Obama. I said, he looks beat. He looks impotent. He looks flat. He is in big trouble. And I saw tweets coming back at me, responses going, hey, man, I thought you were, against both parties. And, hey, man, why don't you shut up? Hey, man, why don't you, leave Obama alone? Hey, I'm just calling it like I see it. That's why my job's so easy. I just try to tell the truth and tell what I see. And that's what you get. Does it mean that my perspective is always right? No. But throughout the evening, I sent out, 7, 8, 9 tweets. What is it, 9 tweets? And I said, this is a game changer. Well, that's what they're saying today, and it's not just the Republicans saying it. CNN poll, most watchers say Romney the debate winner. That's CNN. Incumbent debate curse. Barack Obama fails and falls to Mitt Romney. National Journal. Weekly Standard. Romney, the path we're taking is not working. It's time for a new path. Campaign stops. Charles M. Blow from the New York Times. And he goes on to say that Obama absolutely got trounced. Here's another one out of the Hill. Obama camp promises tougher response to Romney in next debate. Politico, first presidential debate, Obama hit with left hook on TV, online. Politico says he was destroyed. Philly student told to lose Romney t-shirt or get out. Told it was a KKK shirt. Kicked out of the school, told not to wear the Romney shirt. The authoritarianism of these people. Well, all over the country, you can't wear American flag shirts. In San Francisco or Dallas, Texas, you're thrown out because it's seen as anti-Mexico. You don't have free speech in this country. Michael Moore to Obama. This is Washington Times. This is what happens when you pick John Kerry as your debate coach. Washington Post, Romney goes on offense, forcing Obama to defend record, says that Obama lost. Real Clear Politics has a video clip of this. Chris Matthews freaks out at Obama. What was he doing? Says he lost. Carville says Mitt Romney came with a chainsaw. Romney lands punches against subdued Obama in first debate. Al Gore comes out and says it's the high altitude of Denver is why Obama looked drugged. Californians watch, think Romney won clash with Obama in first debate. That's in big scientific Gallup poll. Rasmussen and ABC all show that he trounced Obama. Video potential worry for Obama campaign. Palin warns Obama camp will not go down without swinging, will pull something. Yeah, false flag, some kind of staged event. That's in the cards. I mean, it's going to happen, but you got to look at it. Tough reviews for Jim Lear as debate moderator. AP. Well, yeah, I mean, he could hardly talk. It continues here. First presidential debate, Obama hit with left hook on TV. Politico. Obama camp promises tougher response to Romney in next debate. The Hill. It just goes on and on and on. Romney was able to out Obama. That's Van Jones. New York Times and Cool Hand Barry goes on to say he lost the debate. Just on and on and on. Incumbent debate curse. Barack Obama falls to Mitt Romney. National Journal. So it goes on and on. I mean, I just, there's so many of these I can't read them all. And it just goes on and on. So I'll stop right there. I've got even more stacks of this. So listen, it was obvious within minutes that Barack Obama wasn't suffering from altitude sickness at 10,000 feet in Denver, the mile-high city, or 9,000, whatever it is. The fact is, both men have not been living in the mountains, so that cancels each other out. Obama is arrogant as hell now. Obama is on a power trip and did not like Mitt Romney radiating aggression at him. Romney went in there like a corporate shark, and I've been around those type of guys that are extremely charismatic, and those corporate guys act real calm and real nice till it's time to get a deal done. And then they will come in and just pound you with energy. And that's what Romney was doing, was just beaming hatred at him with a smile on his face the whole time. And Romney absolutely annihilated Obama. You want to know what happened? Romney was radiating corporate hatred and power at Obama. And Obama was absolutely hating it and felt cornered, and so was getting into his presidential arrogance. Now you're not going to get that analysis anywhere else. I know people. I know what I saw. Mitt Romney absolutely dominated and cornered him, just like we saw Bill Clinton do to George Herbert Walker Bush. Remember when Clinton would arrogantly even walk into his space and would even glare at him? That's what was going on last night. People are so primitive and dumbed down in this country, whether you like Obama or not, that all they saw was two chiefs up in front of the tribe at the cave, and Romney was up there physically with his presence dominating Obama, dominating him, and dominating him verbally and calling him out and saying, my sons, I got 5 of them. They tell me something over and over again that isn't true. You stop it. He said, you're a little boy. Stop lying. I mean, he's just absolutely dominating him. And I don't think Obama's going to come back from it unless somebody drugs Romney or something, or unless something happens to Romney. Unless, I mean, it's over. Obama is such a narcissist, and Romney's probably a psychopath, that at least is, well, I'm not going to get into it. The point is that it was amazing to watch if you're into human psychology. That said, as fun as it is with the soap opera that is presidential politics, as fun as it is to focus on the play-by-play, like it's an NFL game or an NHL game, as fun as that is, or the World Series of Baseball, we can learn from it politically and learn how they manipulate us. The bottom line was, he did not like having someone question him, because after 4 years, or almost 4 years, as El Presidente, he's used to everybody stepping and fetching and running around behind him. And And the fact that Romney was glaring at him and smiling at him on purpose. I mean, even if you're a confident person, having somebody stare right at you. And Romney's got quite a presence. That whole good boy, sweetie pie act is a total cover. That's a corporate snake right there. You turn your back on him, he'll stick it in. But, I mean, that's basically what was happening. Obama was dominated. And Obama basically does not want to be questioned. And Obama cannot stand being questioned because he's a narcissist and an egomaniac. And I was tweeting within minutes, hey, he's losing. This is going to be big. This is going to be a game changer. And people are like, oh, now you're taking partisan sides. No. I mean, if I see a Mack truck run into a Volkswagen and I say, man, that Mack truck crushed that Volkswagen, the Mack truck was barely dented, it's not that I'm for the Mack truck. I'm just reporting on what happened. I'm just reporting on the facts. Now, the Vegas books, I've got some articles on that. The habitual gamblers who have a compulsion to bet all the time, 24/7 on event outcomes have already spoken via their favorite venture in trade, and initial reaction is the favorable for, is unfavorable and is not favorable for the incumbent. That's what Zero Hedge reports. And the bookies are saying that that debate did not bode well for El Presidente Obama. So that's what's going on that front right now. This was a total implosion for Obama, and I don't think he can handle it. I don't think he can handle Romney getting in his face like that and laughing at him. When you laugh at them, and when Romney said, hey, you know, my sons like to repeat things that aren't true over and over again when they were kids, but it doesn't change the facts. Obama got really mad. Lear, who looked like he has Parkinson's, nothing against Parkinson's patients, but was doddering, must be drinking too much Diet Coke or something. You know, it's been linked to that aspartame poisoning. He was doddering up there, and I was timing it. Partway into it, Obama was just dominating and taking 2-3 minutes more than he was supposed to get, interrupting, you name it. So even though Lair NewsHour, funded by the government, and Romney said he'd get rid of government funding for that, even though there was an obvious bias there, it did not work. And that's why I read at the start of the show, scores of L.A. Times, Washington Post, New York Times, Al Gore, Chris Matthews, all saying it was a devastating rout for Obama, and he better get back in there and attack. Well, Romney needs to do that too. But again, they're so close to each other. You notice Lair kept saying, now what makes you two different? Because the establishment wants there to look like there's a difference, so you feel like you've actually got a choice here. But just looking at the propaganda spectacle itself, analyzing that, it was a rout par excellence from 3 minutes in. Obama was absolutely, totally folding. So even the Democratic Party operatives have to admit he got destroyed because no one buys their bull anymore. I kind of don't like this, that CNN and MSNBC now know they have 1/10 of the audience they had just 5 years ago. They're a joke. Big radio shows in major cities have bigger audiences. It's total illusion. But radio and local news still watches CNN and MSNBC to get the talking points because they think that's the big show. They think that's the big, you know, arbiters of reality. We still cover them. We still respond to them. I mean, they're legends in their own mind. I only cover them to show that they've even realized they can't sit up there and say that Obama won that debate or it was a tie or both got some good shots in. They can't do that because it's game over unless you come into martial law and try to put us in re-education camps, which Obama's told the Army prepare for 3 months ago. Why don't Republicans use the public Army manual under Obama saying prepare Americans for re-education camps? Because then you have to admit the FEMA camps. You have to admit the military-industrial complex. You have to admit the tyranny. You have to admit the NSA spying. You have to admit the NSA criminality. You have to admit the TSA activities. You have to admit I've been right and others have been right. So barring staged terror attacks and martial law takeover, it's not going to work when they put Obama in either. It's not going to work. You can put Obama back in. You can put Romney back in. It's not going to matter. We're going to wake up to Romney. People are going to figure that out, too, as well, that it's that agenda. It's over. You guys can rearrange stuff, pull tricks, pull rabbits out of hats, and it works, but for shorter and shorter periods now. Look at Obama. They billed him as the second coming of Christ. They actually said in the news he was Jesus. Remember that? Now look at him. Okay? It isn't working anymore. People are getting wise despite all the fluoride. All right, I got a bunch of these clips. Let's start going through them. This is where Romney tells Obama to grab Bowles Simpson, then says why he does not want to raise taxes to not kill jobs. And this is really important because I was tweeting within 5 minutes into the debate, point out that when you raise taxes too high, it actually lowers revenue. This is well known. But again, Romney basically went there, which is the truth. Because there's this idea that raise taxes give more goodies to people. No, raise taxes to shut down your competition because the Fortune 100 is basically exempt from taxes. They want high taxes to shut down their competition, just like they use China to leverage out all their competition. Okay, this is a rigged system. Here it is.
I mean, do you support Simpson-Bowles?
I have my own plan. It's not the same as Simpson-Bowles, but in my view, the president should have grabbed it. If he wanted to make some adjustments to it, take it, go to Congress, fight for it.
That's what we've done. Made some adjustments to it, and we're putting it forward before Congress right now. A $4 trillion plan.
But you've been president 4 years. You've been president 4 years. Right. You said you cut the deficit in half. It's now 4 years later. We still have trillion-dollar deficits. The CBO says we'll have a trillion-dollar deficit each of the next 4 years. If you're reelected, we'll get to a trillion-dollar debt. I mean, you have said before you'd cut the deficit in half. And I love this idea of $4 trillion in cuts. You found $4 trillion of ways to reduce or to get closer to a balanced budget, except we still show trillion-dollar deficits every year. That doesn't get the job done. Let me come back and say, why is it that I don't want to raise taxes? Why don't I want to raise taxes on people? And actually, you said it back in 2010. You said, look, I'm going to extend the tax policies that we have. Now, I'm not going to raise taxes on anyone, because when the economy is growing slow like this, when we're in recession, you shouldn't raise taxes on anyone. Well, the economy is still growing slow. As a matter of fact, it's growing much more slowly now than when you made that statement. And so if you believe the same thing, you just don't want to raise taxes on people. And the reality is, it's not just wealthy people. You mentioned Donald Trump. It's not just Donald Trump you're taxing.
All right, now let's go to this next clip here. This is where Romney defends giving tax breaks to oil companies if they drill domestically. They make it really hard. And attacks Obama for giving $90 billion to green energy. Now, I don't like the fact that Romney says, I like green energy. Really, you like giving $500 million to one company that builds nothing, another $500 million to another, $90 billion total? I mean, these were pure Chicago Mafia wealth transfers. I mean, Obama is just such a snake, folks. He writes the NDAA, his lawyers do. Then he says he's against it, while secretly the letters got brought out saying pass it. Then he says, don't worry, I won't sign it, so opposition couldn't kill it. Then he signs it. Now remember, the globalists, they want you to think one of these guys is actually running things. It's the lawyers and the handlers. It's just the fact is, Obama puppet can't handle Romney puppet. Let's go ahead and go to this clip dealing with the green energy scams.
So let's go through them one by one. First of all, the Department of Energy has said the tax break for oil companies is $2.8 billion a year. And it's actually an accounting treatment, as you know, that's been in place for 100 years. Now,
it's time to end it.
And in 1 year, you provided $90 billion in breaks to the green energy world. Now, I like green energy as well, but that's about 50 years worth of what oil and gas receives. And you say Exxon and Mobil. Actually, this $2.8 billion goes largely to small companies, to drilling operators and so forth. But you know, if we get that tax rate from 35% down to 25%, why, that $2.8 billion is on the table. Of course it's on the table. That's probably not going to survive if you get that rate down to 25%. But don't forget, you put $90 billion, like 50 years worth of breaks into solar and wind, to Solyndra and Fisker and Tesla and everyone. I mean, I had a friend who said, you don't just pick the winners and losers, you pick the losers. All right? So this is not the kind of policy you want to have. You want to get America energy secure.
Sure.
Second topic.
Now, again, this is soft-soaping it. Romney's calling these tax breaks. There's even more on top of that $90 billion in just free stinking money. free money, your tax money to these scumbag globalists. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, so I've been playing clips from the debate where Obama basically folded like a lawn chair. But again, it's kind of sad that Romney doesn't mean all the stuff he's saying. Because when he actually voted for stuff, it was for abortion, it was for gun control, it was for open borders, it was for carbon taxes, it was for global warming, Al Gore love, it's for police state. But the guy I heard last night, I liked, except for this point, where he's because Obama has helped more than anybody pay to move General Motors to China, paid to shut down our power plants, but then China can have 3 new ones a week, coal power plants, paid with incentives. And so when you're informed, it's otherworldly to see Obama up there, because he'd earlier talked about, you want to outsource jobs, you want to have tax incentives to leave the country. And, you know, Romney's talking about lower taxes on small business. That's good, but it's a tax as a tariff, basically, to have China with slave labor. And no environmental standards, no welfare, no workers' comp. As more and more of that is demanded here, the quality of life goes down, the services go down, and the jobs leave. So the new jobs are security guards and things like that. That's the new. We were going to have this great service economy. We don't even have that now. We have a police state minder economy. That's the new economy. So here is Romney mocks Obama's comment on moving jobs overseas, giving businesses a tax break. So here's that clip.
Which is, you said you get a deduction for taking a plant overseas? Look, I've been in business for 25 years. I have no idea what you're talking about. I maybe need to get a new accountant. But the idea that you get a break for shipping jobs overseas is simply not the case. What we do have right now is a setting where I'd like to bring money from overseas back to this country.
That's just pure bull. By the way, Romney went in with hedge funds and took over businesses and chopped them up and sold them off and stole pension funds. I mean, all I can talk about Staples that was already established. I mean, Romney's a bad guy, folks. Supported banker bailouts, you name it. So all I'm saying is that's a load of bull. Let's go ahead and go to Obama snaps at Jim Lehrer. This went on quite a bit, and then he went on like 4 minutes after this. I mean, Obama was hogging the time, and it did not come off as presidential because he had to leave his teleprompter at home while the corporate shark was there fighting over the slop, the government trough that he wants to snuggle his little Goldman Sachs nose down into. But see, Goldman Sachs wins either way. They're bankrolling both guys. The administrations are full of the same people. Let's go to this clip.
Now, the last point I'd make before...
2 minutes. 2 minutes is up, sir.
No, I think I had 5 seconds before you interrupted me, was... the irony is that we've...
And then it goes on with the counter by Lehrer later, who was actually able to summon up some mental acumen when he says, that's 5 minutes for your 5 seconds. But it was definitely, Lehrer was leaning the entire time towards Obama. That was pretty obvious. Now, here's a clip where Romney, well, I'll let the clip speak for itself. Here it is.
Look, I got 5 boys. I'm used to people saying something that's not always true, but just keep on repeating it and ultimately hoping I'll believe it. But that is not the case, all right? I will not reduce the taxes paid by high-income Americans. And number 3, I will not, under any circumstances, raise taxes on middle-income families. I will lower taxes on middle-income families. Now, you cite a study. There's 6 other studies that looked at the study you described and say it's completely wrong. I saw a study that came out today that said you're going to raise taxes by $3,000 to $4,000 on middle-income families. There are all these studies out there. But let's get to the bottom line. That is, I want to bring down rates. I want to bring the rates down, at the same time lower deductions and exemptions and credits and so forth, so we keep getting the revenue we need. And you think, well, then why lower the rates? And the reason is because small business pays that individual rate. 54% of America's workers work in businesses that are taxed not at the corporate tax rate, but at the individual tax rate. And if we lower that rate, they will be able to hire more people. For me, this is about jobs.
Right.
This is about getting jobs for the American people.
Yeah. Do you challenge what the governor just said about his...
Okay, so here's the bottom line. Romney won the debate. Unfortunately, you can't believe anything he says. And both guys are bought and paid for by the same interest. It's just same puppet master running both puppets. And, you know, the right hand of the puppet master is a little bit better than the left hand, and it was beating up the left hand, you know, over there, Obama, pun intended, he's left-handed. So all of that is going on. But here's the deal. Romney at least has to give lip service and say he's anti-abortion. And Romney has to defend small business and the free market, where Obama openly attacks it and says, you didn't build that. And if Romney really wanted to win, he'd come out and say, you didn't build America, Mr. President, and small business people and entrepreneurs and inventors and trailblazers, they did. Because, look, government doesn't work at a large level. And sometimes you can have a well-meaning government that can do some good things up front. It always gets infiltrated and taken over and becomes corrupt. 99.9% of the time, literally, government creates a nightmare. Everybody knows that historically. And you sit there and you see Obama and all these socialists. I mean, look, I know Democratic Party supporters. I see them all the time. They are the most neurotic, control freak, chicken-necked, scared people. They're scared of citizens having guns. They love the nanny state. They hate strong men. They don't like the family. I mean, I've been around them. Are there people that could be on the left that, you know, believe in organic food and, you know, not being racist and who are nice folks? Yeah, there are those people. But historically, the people on the left work for the government, they work for the system, and for them, the bigger the system gets, the better their life. They are members of a gang. And you got a bunch of corporate gangsters that now run the government, and they love the useful idiots down there that get a tiny amount of chicken feed. They love making them dependent. They love not having competition. They love government being able to shut down their competition. And that is the secret and the heart and the core to all of this. So I like the fact that Romney got animated. I like the fact that, you know, I mean, because, look, when you've got an American president running down business owners and saying you didn't build jack squat, Jack, you got a problem on your hands. Businesses are hard to run, especially a news organization that its main mission is news, not business. But I get distracted by the business end, having to fund things and having to wear that businessman cap. Government just, I mean, literally, you know government's a joke. You've been around it. You've worked with government. You've had to go get stuff from the government. You've had to go get permits and things. They're a bunch of neurotic weirdos, usually, who are entitled and now call themselves officials and authorities and want to let us know we're keeping you safe from Al-Qaeda that they run. But I'd call into these neocon shows because they do have big audiences compared to their so-called competition, MSNBC. And you call in and you're like, yeah, Romney absolutely destroyed him. But it was crazy to watch Romney argue against his own record. So do you think if Romney gets in, he'll actually be pro-gun and anti-abortion and against carbon taxes because he supported all that? And because, you know, it's important to expose and push these neocons and these fake right-wing talk show hosts more into reality. Because then that won't let the Democrats get as far afield towards tyranny as well. The further the right moves towards the left, which again, that's using a fake paradigm, but that's how they see it, the more they can get their globalist agenda done. I appreciate your call.
I didn't want to watch the debate last night. I turned it on, and in the first minute, I was like, he's squeaming like a little mouse. And it was comical. I could not believe it. We know the bankers are betting on both horses, but it was enjoyable to watch him squirm like the little mouse he is. And
yeah, well, I mean, the deal was made to put Obama in 4 years ago. John McCain is a Democratic Party operative placeholder. I mean, that's a fact, like Bob Dole. Now he's actually up there on the stage with a corporate globalist piranha that wants his mafia Don job. And so, yeah, no, Obama's actually dealing with a contender now. People say, is it totally rigged that they're behind closed doors together? No, not really. I mean, they're two gangsters that, you know, that want the head job. Jeff in Canada, what was your take on the debate?
Good afternoon, Alex. Thank you so much for taking the call. I think your take on Mitt Romney is absolutely brilliant. Count Dracula, for sure. He looks like Count Dracula, 100%. Your friend David Gergen on CNN last night, of course, you and he met some years ago. I'm sure your listening audience knows you and David Gergen are very, have met before. He actually was down on Obama, surprisingly, last night. Usually he's pretty up on Obama.
Everybody was, because he's supposed to win, and he got absolutely, he looked like a spoiled brat throwing a temper tantrum up there.
You know, I guess the line where he used, he said, you may be entitled to your own home and your own jet or your own plane, but you're not entitled to your own facts. These kind of zingers that Romney was throwing out all night long just continued to stun Obama. He looked like he was in a ring.
Stay there. I want to hear more points. This is the kind of call I want, where you lay out what you thought was important. Yeah, well, no, it's that prosecutorial thing where you throw facts out at somebody. Bam, 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 bam. That's what we do. It's very effective. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Stay there. Jeff, finishing your points on the debate, what else were you noticing there with Obama? I mean, he just looked angry that he was being asked any questions. He looked like a spoiled brat, an arrogant president, a guy on a power trip. He looked like Kim Jong-il being asked questions. You don't ask the Supreme Leader questions.
Well, you know, I agree. You know, and as a black man calling from Canada, I found it almost like watching, to use the old quote-unquote racist standard, of watching the white man school the black man. And I think that kind of imagery, that kind of cosmetic optics in the United States will prompt anyone that would have had any reservations about Obama to look at Romney a little bit more closely. And again, I understand this is all theatrics.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you at one level that in anything now, white guys are always the bad guy. So it's bad if a white guy does good. I understand that's the hyper psychology that they use to get everybody at their throats in the political correctness. But I guess I wasn't watching it as a white guy, black guy. But I did think about, and today they're saying it's racist in the news to criticize, I saw several articles, Obama. So I mean, it does come down to that point. So I guess when Bill Clinton intimidated George Herbert Walker Bush, that was racist against white people. Because, I mean, Bill Clinton is the first black president, they said. All this identity politics makes me sick. Yeah, there will certainly some whites, maybe Christians that don't like Mormons, maybe Baptists, they'll probably vote for Romney now because they think, well, he showed that black guy. and then you'll probably have some minorities who were going to vote for Romney who probably will think, well, that's not allowed. He must be racist because he was beating Obama. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Right at the beginning of the debate, when Romney, you can replay this for your audience in a couple of seconds, but I hope the next debate you will do it on air, that you will carry this on Prison Planet TV, which is where I'm watching you right now. Great quality, by the way. I hope that you'll carry the debate live and allow your audience to chime in live. Because I was watching this on C-SPAN last night, but no matter where I tried to watch this debate, whether it be on C-SPAN or in the mainstream media, libertarians and free-thinking individuals are not permitted. If you try to
no, you're right. Again, it's about reaffirming the Democratic Party, Republican Party, two-headed monster. And you're right. Next time, we'll do a special live Prison Planet stream, and we'll put up the White House feed of it, like Mystery Science Theater, with me and the crew, and we'll throw popcorn at the screen and stuff and do live comments. Absolute genius. Getting your take on the so-called debate between the left and right puppet. Last night, the right-wing puppet scored some big points. We're all saved because, you know, we'll throw out the establishment candidate and put in another establishment candidate. Tish in California, you're on the air.
Okay, I didn't watch the debate only because I fully agree with Gerald. It's a political reality show. And also, like a lot of months ago, I don't know how many, but so many months ago, you had said, uh-oh, Obama better watch out because the money that they put behind him last year, they're putting it behind Romney. And I was like, you know what? If they did that, then it's over. And sure enough, as the weeks go by and the months go by, you can just see things in the news where they are turning on Obama. And weren't they prepping for this debate? I mean, it looks like only Romney prepped. And I don't know what they did to poor Obama. He looked like he may have just gotten off a plane or something and just showed up. But
no, I agree. So you didn't watch it, but later saw some clips of it. No, I mean, within minutes, Obama looked totally exhausted, totally disheveled. You could tell he was out of gas. I mean, it's one thing to look physically tired. It's another thing to, you know, just look like he didn't want to be there. And then here's the, here's the hungry dog, Romney, coming at him. So I agree with you. And the whole thing's a distraction to begin with. But if we cover it, we can then bring in new people and show them the propaganda by covering the issue.